Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the Orns Monday focus on Burnley versus Watford, which takes place tomorrow night at Turf Moor up in Lancashire. And it was 1 year and 8 days ago that Watford were at Turf Moor. I believe it was Roy Hodgson's first game in charge of the Hornets and Watford's first clean sheet of the season as Burnley and Watford played out to a 0-0 draw on a very cold, rainy, and miserable night, very windy night at Turf Moor on Saturday night, and literally 1 year and 8 days ago. That's right. Ben Foster said in the post-match interviews that he couldn't even feel his face. That's how cold it was at Turf Moor last February. Well, Watford will be hoping it will be a little bit warmer tomorrow when they take on Burnley, who lead the league in the championship and have done for the vast majority of this season. They've dropped just 2 games this season, Burnley, and Watford will be hoping to make it 3 in the game tomorrow night. Now, Watford are 22 points behind the league leaders, and Watford, if they don't win this game tomorrow at Burnley, are in danger of dropping out of the top 6 because Sunderland take on Sheffield United. And if Sunderland were able to pull off a win at Bramall Lane on Tuesday, well, Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe it is, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. If Sunderland were able to win that game at Sheffield United, Sunderland would replace Watford in the top 6. So this is an important game for Watford. Look, most people expect that Watford are going to be brushed aside by a Burnley team that they beat right near the beginning of the season. Game number 3, it was Watford beating Burnley by a score of 1-0 at the Vic. That was way back toward the end of last August. That was the game that Tom Cleverley last played before the game he appeared in just this past weekend. That's right. Cleverley had been out for months. He got injured in that game that he scored in. It was the only goal of the game as Watford held on with 10 men to see off Burnley in that game at the Vic. But this is a very, very different Burnley from then. And while Burnley were very competitive that night, this is a Burnley now that has full control of this championship. It's theirs to lose. They're going to go up, not just go up, but they're going to go up with a championship title. And Vincent Kompany will not accept anything less. The former Manchester City captain, now Burnley manager, has got this team on all cylinders, purring at every level you can expect as they go into the business end of the season. Burnley are looking really, really good. Watford have been very indifferent this season, very inconsistent this season. And the key for Watford on the road is to play better, is to come out of the gates flying, is to come out with confidence, is to finish the chances that will come to them. And there will only be a few in this game, particularly when you're on the road in games. You as the away side do not get very many chances. You probably get half a dozen chances the entire game. So it is imperative that Watford's finishing be absolutely on point tomorrow night if they are to get anything at all from Burnley. Now, I think Burnley are due to lose a game here, or at least due to drop some kind of points. You'd have to think the law of averages says that between now and the end of the season, Burnley are going to drop points somewhere. I think it could be tomorrow night. Look, Watford come into this game with complete house money. They're playing with house money. No one gives Watford a chance to win this game. Watford, many people think, are going to be just easily cast aside tomorrow. But I think this Watford side has got some spirit in it. And with the reemergence of Tom Cleverley, with the reemergence of Imran Louza, and with the reemergence of other players like Ken Sema, for example, don't discount this Watford side. There are a bunch of fighters in this team now with the likes of Cleverley and Sema and with Louza. And I think that that can definitely have a knock-on effect for a Watford side who did not get the job done against Blackburn over the weekend. But I think now, I hope, we'll be reinvigorated with purpose and passion to do the things away from home that they're not necessarily great at the Vic. Now, look, Watford's record at Vicarage Road is better than their record away from home. But I think that they play better away from home, if that makes sense. It actually does make sense. I think Watford play better away from home, and they have done over the last few years. As a matter of fact, I think if you look at the way Watford's set up on the road, they're a lot more confident usually in these away games. They should have beaten Reading just a few weeks ago. They failed to do that, having had a 2-0 lead. And they also have had other moments away from home where they have acquitted themselves very well indeed. Now, one of the things that I think holds out some good omens for Watford is that they do play better away from home against competition in general that is higher in the table than they, and so, or at least around them. Now, the exception to that most recently is Middlesbrough, but Watford, I think, are going to come into this game with a lot more purpose and a bit more desperation and urgency, and that's exactly what they're going to have if they are to have any chance of taking points from Burnley. I think that they can get a point here against Burnley. I definitely think they can get a point from Burnley at minimum, but the key once again is how they start these games. If Watford are starting these games from behind, they're not winning the games. They've only been able to come from behind, as best I can remember, once this season. That was at home to Middlesbrough back in August on Vic 100 night, where Middlesbrough scored after 4 minutes, and Watford ended up getting a late goal from Vicun Bio to give Watford all 3 points at the Vic that night. A very special night it was. And this is another special night, an opportunity for it to be for Watford. And if Watford come into this game with purpose, passion, belief, and commitment, and get the opening goal, I think there could be something on the cards here at Burnley. Now, look, Burnley have fallen behind at Turf Moor before. So if it were to happen tomorrow night, that would not be a shock. Burnley fell behind at home to West Bromwich Albion recently, and they turned things around completely there and ended up getting all 3 points. But I think that Watford here now have to come in with a renewed focus and purpose. And if they find purpose and focus and discipline, especially on the road, the discipline they didn't have against Reading, I think they can take a point from this game tomorrow night against Burnley. And heck, they may even win the darn game. Who knows? Well, we'll see for now. But Watford don't have any pressure on them as far as this game is concerned. Burnley are the ones who are being chased by everyone else in the league. And so this will present another very interesting challenge. 2 teams relegated from the Premier League last season. Watford have done very well against teams that they've been relegated with in the past season. Of course, they beat Burnley near the beginning of the season, and on the opening day of the season, beat Sheffield United as well. So we'll see how things go tomorrow. But for Watford, definitely they're going to have their players in place. João Pedro, also another fighter, he will be back and ready to go as well. And the bench, hopefully, will be sharp. But finishing is going to be very critical for Watford tomorrow night. And we've seen over a number of games this season where Watford have failed to get the finishing done properly. Well, tomorrow presents a marvelous opportunity for Watford to right that wrong and get these finishing touches into the back of the Burnley net. If they do that, it could be a famous night at Turf Moor. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Watford, play your football, come in confident, take the lead early, and then start to manage the game out in 10-minute increments and do the things you have to do. You know what Burnley is. You've seen Burnley. They're a very dangerous outfit. Vincent Kompany has them very drilled and disciplined. And Watford has to be exactly the same, drilled and disciplined and determined. This has been the Orns Monday Focus.